So we are back again working on the G35 Sedan, doing the full manual swap on it. Some stuff that I did not record, we did get out of the way, like the center console. We had to get that fully out of the way because if you don't know, the center console in these are too high, so you can't really use them that well anyways unless you get an extension. I don't want to do all that. So I'm going to do it proper and put an actual manual center console in this eventually. But as you can tell, we still do have the automatic trans down there, so we are still gonna have to get that out. But I wanted to go ahead and knock out one of the main things about a manual swap in these cars that actually kind of sucks, and that's the clutch pedal. So we went ahead and got this done and over with. It actually wasn't as hard as most people made it out to be, but in this car, since it is an automatic, this is just simply a sheet of metal, literally sheet metal up there. So it's not that strong. So whenever you put one in, you do have to reinforce it a little bit. I just made a plate that was the same bolt pattern so that I could sandwich it behind the clutch pedal itself and the firewall. You probably can't see it up there, but it's there. Eventually, I probably will just go ahead and weld that in, but for now, I just wanted to get it done and get it over with, and it works. It is a little bit crooked, but that'll be fine. Now, when we left off, we definitely didn't have a throttle body on the car, so I got that sorted. It is just a Hitachi throttle body. I don't know if it's an OEM. I don't think it's an OEM one. Probably will swap that out eventually, but I just wanted to see if the car would actually start the way that it is. And once we got everything buttoned up other than that, because there was the coil pack harness down here was actually cut on one of the connectors for some reason. So luckily I still had the harness from when the Z was VQ. I just pulled that off of the harness, threw that one onto here and bolted it all back up. Then we got the battery hooked up, and once we did all of that, I knew the car could at least start. I knew it probably wouldn't stay running because obviously we don't have the intake pipe connecting the throttle body to the math, so it's not reading air correctly here. And we have no cats on the car either, so it's definitely not. That scared the shit out of me. It just slapped the plastic. And we don't have cats on the car either, so it's not reading O2 correctly. So it was just a fart in the wind trying to see if it would even start and make sure the motor was good. Didn't hear any rod knock. It ran for a few seconds and then killed itself, but I didn't hear anything bad with the motor, so we should be good here. And he actually did some stuff to this as well, so he may have already replaced the valve cover gaskets. I know I mentioned that there was some sludge buildup and stuff going on with it, but it didn't seem to leak. There was no spots underneath the car or anything. So now we are venturing on to the manual transmission and getting that prepped and ready to go in the car before we take the automatic out. I went ahead and got most of the bell housing bolts loose so that we can just undo them and slip the trans out essentially, because car doesn't have a diff in it. I didn't realize that, but luckily we have one in the shop, so that'll just bolt right up. So really the only thing after that is we got to get the manual drive shaft, which Brennan, the guy that I bought the car from, actually has one. I didn't know that at the time, but now I do. So we're not too far from this actually being a drivable car. And then we'll start talking to Cody from DC, getting some coilovers for it, and now we'll start jumping into the transmission because we got some parts right here that are going to make this a whole lot better and perform not so shitty like the early G35 350Z transmissions did. And as you can tell, I already started poking with it, so let's just go ahead and start diving right in. So first things first that we got to do is get the old clutch fork assembly out so that we can put the upgraded one that we have in along with the pivot ball and the bearing and everything as well. So let's go ahead and mangle this out. Whenever you're getting the bearing out, you simply just pull on it, twist a little bit, that'll unlock it from the fork and it'll pop right out essentially. So that's good to go. Then you can pull your fork out, and I don't know if you can see this here, but on the one that we are going to be putting in, this is the same side. So you just got a cheap little spring here that holds the pivot ball on the transmission, and it's just substantially lighter, that's for sure. But this will essentially allow for all the torque you're putting through it to not have a problem and hold up perfectly well. So we can get this out of the way. We won't need that. And then I also got a new boot, which this one actually looks like it's perfectly fine. So we may reuse this, I guess, since it's OEM, and just hold on to the one we have. I zapped this off and we are good to go there. And there we go on that. So that will be your replacement. I don't quite know how that works because it's so much further down.
And factory volleyball. Cool. So here you can see.
I get it. I'm retarded. Given that this fork is hollow on the inside, this sits a lot further up, which is why this is so extended. So to account for this sitting further down, that's why this is so short. Got it? Got it. Cool. So on top of that, there is a spring as well that'll need to go in this. We'll go and toss this back in here. Bingo. 19 it is. So now we'll go ahead and prep this clutch fork where we will need this spring. So we want to grab some needle nose pliers and you're gonna clamp these together. If I can just do it myself. Wow, this is majorly pathetic. What the f is going on right now? There we go. So close. There we are. Once you got that in there, you want the top of this spring to face towards the forks, and you are simply just going to push this down in there. You may have to use a little bit of encouragement. All right, so should look something like that. Now you can set the fork aside because you won't need that for a little bit. I'll go ahead and get all my used parts out of the way, which that sucks because this still looks fairly new. There's no way this transmission has that many miles on it. I'm a little upset that I ordered this. I truthfully might just throw this back in. This looks perfectly fine. Usually whenever you pull them out, they'll be all dirty and grimy and just absolutely disgusting, but I've never seen one look this nice, truthfully. Yeah, we are gonna have to replace this retainer spring though. Because we'll have to use the one for Z1. So grab that right here. We are going to go ahead and pop that on. And you want these to line up over these little platforms on the side of the bearing. God, my back won't stop itching. So that we can put the clutch fork and slide it up onto. Wow, does not want to go on here. And you fold it back, and that's how it holds itself in. I didn't have any brake cleaner, so I just used some spray gun cleaner that I had laying around from when I painted the Z. Got that all cleaned up. It is evaporative, so it evaporated away. No big deal, but we will go ahead and take our fork and get this slid on. Bend that a little bit. All right, cool. Get the fork into place. Now, I'm gonna slide this bearing on, and then on it. Pop on that ball, which I think we got it. Yep, we're good there. So now it's good to go. So this part's good. I had gone ahead and checked out the output shaft seal, and it honestly seems fine. So I think I'm just gonna run with that for now. That's really not that hard to replace if I need to. So we'll just leave that in the box of goodies along with the boot and the other stuff that we're not going to use for right now. So I could go ahead and put the diff in, but I don't think I'm going to do that at the moment. For one, because it's hotter than Satan's ball sack out here right now. And two, because I'd rather get the manual trans in there first, and then while I'm waiting for the manual drive shaft, I can be doing the diff at that point. And I could go ahead and put the slave cylinder on, but I'm not going to do that at the moment. I'm going to leave that off. I actually don't even have any bolts for it, so I'll have to figure that out, but those are pretty simple 10 mil bolts that are used everywhere on here. So essentially the next thing we have to do is run to the parts store. I got to get some brake parts cleaner, and then I've got to get transmission oil because I do not think this is full of oil at all. Even if it is, I'm going to want to go ahead and replace it anyways while I'm there. So, and then on top of that, I actually ordered a brand new trans mount bushing for back here. This thing can just wobble all over the place because the bushing down in there is completely shot. So Had to get one overnighted to nearest O'Reilly's, so we got to pick that up along with everything else, and then we can resume back on this. I am ready to get this car up and running, not just to be able to drift it, but because I want to be able to use it as a daily for a little bit. That's the whole purpose of this car, is to kind of be a daily drifter. I mean, we're gonna keep AC and everything in here because, for one, when you're sitting on grid and you have AC, that's kind of a flex, and you don't sweat your balls off. So let's catch back up after the parts store, and we can further the trans project. Day 2, working on the G35. We're gonna get this automatic out and get the new, where did it go? Shitty AutoZone transmission mount bushing for the manual, since we prepped that in the last video. I did jump over to my buddy Wes's house to pick up the trans mount, just a simple one from Harbor Freight. I didn't feel like spending $130, but shout out to him. He hooked it up, so we will now hopefully not die trying to get this thing out. Hello. So yeah, I gotta take the bottom bolts out of the trans, and then we can essentially pull it out. Oh wait, no, I gotta undo the trans cooler lines too. That's the only other thing. How you feel?
Great.
Good. There's no mic on you, so they probably can't even hear you. So before we go start pulling this bitch out, let's drain it so it's not as fucking heavy. There we go. Assume there's fluid in it. Yep, there we go. We just got all the trans mount bolts out. I got the trans jack under it, so it should be good to just go ahead and wiggle out. I think there's a harness up top that we got to unplug and we get it down, but other than that, let's not die. We're not gonna die, so you know. Go ahead and put the gun on here. So I already got the trans mount unbolted. I just gotta shimmy this. Separate. Oh god. There's oil in there for sure. Did I miss a bolt? Does not want to break loose. Seems like it's stuck over here. Oh, god damn it. Everything just keeps falling in my face. There's definitely oil behind this fucking motor. We're gonna have to replace the rear main. Ah, that sucks. Now, we should be able to wiggle woggle this motherfucker up out of here. I don't even know if that's the correct termagage. Oh yeah, we're coming. All right, you ready? I think I want to switch sides with you.
Right here. Oh, okay. So like off of this thing.
Yeah.
Alright, we're moving. We're moving.
Hold on, hold on.
Oh, fuck you.
Put that towel under it. I think. Is it out of the engine?
Yeah,
Oh my god, those motor mounts are toast.
Yeah. I'm pushing this whole thing, correct?
Yeah,
Oh,
okay, there,
alright.
it's out now.
Yeah, I'll just keep pulling just a little bit more.
It's stuck. Alright, I'm gonna come back towards you a little bit.
Alright.
If I can. No, I can't.
Moving. Yeah, no, don't do that. Just in case.
Okay, it's day 3, and I'm not gonna lie, this might get a lot worse before it gets any better. Because we've got quite the leakage coming from behind the motor, which normally means rear main seal is gone. So we are probably gonna have to do that, which is not gonna be fun. On the end of the torque converter, it's leaking, but I don't see any down here specifically. Or even like pulled up. Oh god, there's a spider literally right there. So at the bottom of the motor, I don't see any oil, which is usually where you'll see some dripping down from the rear main. So maybe we're good, I don't know, but let's go ahead and try and get this torque converter off and see what we're dealing with underneath, because I really would rather not have to drop this whole front end. We'll see how this goes. You know what would be nice? So if I was sitting on a nice Viper chair underneath a lift, but instead I should be on a Viper mat, but we'll get that figured out. So apparently we gotta take this cover off, and that'll give us access up here to the inside of the torque converter, which is where we can get to the bolts. And there should only be 4 around the entire thing, so. Oh wow, that was simple. We're gonna have to put a 19 mil on the front of the crank so that we can spin the crank, essentially. So that this will spin so we can access all the bolts. I feel one of them right here. I think it's a 14, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 14 it is. Alright, cool. Oh shit. Okay, we definitely don't want to strip them, that's for fucking sure. Fun at all. Them bitches are on there. And it's not resting on much behind here. It's only got a little lip and a very small circle that it's sitting on the flywheel. So just be careful. I'm probably just gonna let this thing drop because I don't care about it. I'm having to like hold the front with my knee, which is not ideal. Doesn't feel too good. Oh my god. What the hell was that? Buzzed in my damn ear. That wasn't fun either. Oh shit, that hurts. Oh my god, that fucking hurts. On jack stands. Bolts are so small too. I don't know if you can tell, but fucking tiny. On the home stretch, gentlemen. I assume it will now. Yeah, okay. Alright, we might be able to just pull this down. Apparently it's heavier than it looks. Okay, yep, that thing is heavier than it looks, that's for sure. Fucking Christ. Wow, the flywheel actually looks pretty nice. Oh no, I see oil residue. Well, we may have some bad news. But first, let's get this off. I think these are either 12 or 14s. And you want to take them off in a star pattern, or else you'll warp this. It won't come off correctly, and then you'll have an extremely hard time getting it off. I don't know how it worked or how they explained it, but or how I even remember. 14 feels kind of loose. Holy shit. We even got a short 14. I think that might do us a little better. Holy shit, dude. Those are f***ing on there. There ain't no way. God, what are those torqued to? I can't fucking remember. I do not want this cranked up all the way, because again, we need to do this in a star pattern. Now they're all broke loose. Put all those off. Pull that off. Flywheel. And that rear main is absolutely toast. It looks like someone tried to do it already. Damn, that blows. Alright, well, just to get you guys up close. You can definitely tell there's some oil that's been dripping out. And this looks like a very shittily done, like you can see right here, if I can get that to focus, where it's like chewed up. It's not even seated down in there. Actually, that's just RTV, it looks like. But this side looks like shit too, so yeah, sadly, rear main is probably gonna have to be replaced. And it looks like they did it the cheap method, which was not dropping the upper pan and just essentially smushing this lower seal of the rear main entire like assembly down in there. So that fucking sucks, but we do have to get the pilot bearing out, so I guess let's at least focus on that. Here we got a bunch of leakage. This just turned into a lot more work. Never just an easy job, brother. essentially we're gonna have to drop the front subframe, and then we will probably unbolt tie rod on this side and then undo the steering shaft, and we should be able to just swing, or wait, no, maybe we might be able to just swing this over so that we can have a little easier access to the lower pan to get this done. But we keep going. Of course, this pilot bushing for the automatic is giving me all sorts of issues. And the puller that I got, the claws on it are thick as hell, and on the inside of here you don't even have but a little tiny ridge for maybe like a spike type tooth to fit down into. So I know people get them out with air hammers and stuff, so I'm probably gonna have to do that. But since I can't get the pilot bearing out, we are going to move on from that and start working on unbolting all the suspension, because for one, this stuff's getting replaced, and for two, it's all got to come out anyway so that we can get the front subframe out. So let's jump into that. Oh shit. God, these Viper chairs are amazing. Let me tell you, I don't remember what any of these sizes are. Look at this guy. Alright. Obviously, these struts and stuff are not going to stay in here. They'll be coming out because, you know, we're going to put some nice BCs on there. God bless, these are disgusting. I feel like I'm going to get tetanus just holding on to these. It's insanely hot out here today. 95 is the high, but humidity is like 70–80%. It feels like I need a water break. That's what I need. Let's go do that. Well, I can't do it. It is insanely too hot at the moment, so it's just way too humid. I'm sweating my fucking ass off. Sweating more water than I can consume. And I'm not trying to pass out underneath the car. Also doesn't help that this car is black. Makes it 10 times worse.
Staying way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want 4, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach her. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater.